Hey, what is up guys? I'm Crimson Thunder here. Welcome back to this Let's Play of Sentinels of the Multiverse, the video game. Last time we ended up taking down a bunch of villains with Black Phoenix, which had to be Sergeant Steel, Freight Train, Proletariat, and Greaser. So in this next villain, we're going to be taking on Grand Warlord Voss. This particular villain happens to have a bunch of minions, and I'll explain when it comes along. So, taking on to the heroes, we're going to take on 4 more like we did usually. Since there's a lot of area damage, that's going to be really good. I'm going to bring along Tempest and Ra again, because I really like the way they play in this particular matchup. Gonna bring on Knife, the regular variant. And let's see here. And we'll take on Tachyon. And I'm gonna bring out the team leader Tachyon, since that's the best one of her kind. In this particular one, whenever she uses her team leader ability, each player gets to draw 1 card. And there's no other variant I like better than her arsenal than that. And Grand Warlord Voss is going to attempt to break everybody out of the block, aka Alcatraz Island in space. So, without further ado, let's go take out Grand Warlord Voss before he starts overrunning the entire prison with minions. And note there's another Nemesis fight. Here we go. Turn the volume. Ah, the puny being, the puny being who escaped me on Vulcan Prime. Ready for your shackles? You shall not ruin this planet the way you did my home. Your tyranny ends here. So, when the game begins, Grand Warlord Voss is going to start off with 4 minions equal to the number of players, and then the rest of the cards that are revealed to shuffle back in the deck. So he plays 4 minions. We got the Gene-bound Shock Infantry, which hits the hero with the highest HP with 3 lightning damage. Gene-bound Guard reduces the damage dealt by villain targets by 1. Gene-bound Iron Lancer, which does deal the target the hero for the lowest HP but with 2 energy. And Gene-bound Guard, so damage reductions by 2. And Gene-bound Bionut deals the hero target with the lowest HP 2 toxic damage. So in this particular case, I'm going to hit Ra because he has the ability to heal and Knife does not. Iron Lantern is going to hit Tempest, and the Bionaut's going to hit Tempest for another 2. And it's going to be a real pain in the ass to try to get rid of these guys unless we can do a Lightning Slash here. So I'm going to go Lightning Slash, take out the Guard. And I'm going to skip my power phase because the Gene-bound Guard is just going to block all the damage. I'll draw a card, Vicious Cyclone. Rom, once again, getting by the damage is going to be a pain in the ass, so I'm going to go Fire Blast and get rid of this Guard. I know it's a little bit overkill, but it's going to be a lot easier later on. And for my power, I'm going to hit the Ion Lance because Knife is not going to be able to deal any damage to that. Then I'll draw Scorched Earth. Now Knife, like Ra, deals almost nothing but damage. So, and that's basically what all the cards does. The problem with her is that she does not have a lot of good ability to either heal herself, which she actually doesn't have any at all, and she's got very little draw power. And that's I am going to go ahead and punch out this Ion Lance because she can use the melee damage to get rid of that. and for the greater good. Now Tachyon, we get this hypersonic assault. This deals every non-hero target 1 sonic damage, and everybody hit this way cannot deal damage until the start of our next turn. This is not really that bad for the amount of cards that we have. Sucker Punch won't do too much right now, just because everybody's over 2 HP. So we're gonna go ahead and hypersonic assault everything. So the infantry and the Bionaut is not gonna deal any damage. And we'll go ahead and have everybody draw a card. And Filter Officer. At the start of the environment turn, at the end of the environment turn, this card deals the non-agent target with the second lowest HP 3 projectile damage. So this means this is going to kill the infantry. So now it's Warlord Voss's turn. We got First Lieutenant Victor. This will increase damage to hero targets by 1, so this is going to be a problem child. Luckily, the hypersonic assault did quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and armor up with the Otherworldly Resilience. And this is going to reduce damage to Tempest by 1, just like Bunker's heavy plating. And I'm going to go ahead and Squall and hit everybody for 1 except for Voss, because he's got a bunch of damage reduction. And go ahead and draw a card. We got Ra. We're going to go ahead and use the Staff of Ra, and we're going to use his Pyre power to burn Victor for 3. Draw 1 card. Now I'm not going to use the 4 damage here because it's not going to do really any good. So what I'll do is I'll play the Kinetic Neutralizer. This will increase damage dealt by knife to the villain target with the highest HP by 1. And I'm going to use the Energy Lance to kill Victor. Now get rid of the increased damage problem. Battlefield Experience, this is her best card. And since there's no reason to not do this, I'm just going to go ahead and do Lightning Reflexes, so I get to play 2 cards now. I'm going to go Sucker Punch to kill the Bionaut. And since he's going to flip on his next turn, I'll go use the other Hypersonic Assault. And I'm also going to hit the Filter Officer with it as well, so neither one of them will deal damage. For powers, I'm going to have everybody draw a card. Blazing Tornado, Wrecking Uppercut, Nimble Strike, and Lightspeed Barrage. Now Lightspeed Barrage, this will make Tachyon deal 1 target X melee damage, where X is the number of burst cards in her trash. And for Tachyon, a lot of her cards happen to have burst in it, and the number of bursts in her trash makes some particular cards more powerful. So, Lockdown. When this card enters play, destroy all inmates. Increase damage dealt by agents by 1. At the end of the environment turn, if there are any inmates in play, destroy this card. Now in Alcatraz, Lockdown really means business too. But because of Hypersonic Assault, he's not gonna be able to deal damage. Now when there's no cards in play for his minions, he'll flip. And this is when he'll start dealing damage. There's the Frost Hound. So now that he's flipped, at the start of the villain turn, if there are 2 or more minions in play, he'll flip back to his other side. Reduce damage to Warlord Voss by 1 for every minion in play, and at the end of the villain turn, Grand Warlord Voss deals the hero target with the highest HP H-1 energy damage, which is 3, and the hero with the target with the lowest HP H-2 fire damage, which in this case will be 2. But because of Hypersonic Assault, he can't do either of them. despite the fact that they're Nemesis. But what will happen is that all the hero targets are going to take 2 cold damage. -1 for Tempest because of the resilience. Now for here, I'm going to go ahead and use Localized Hurricane. While this will increase damage to Tempest by 1, he can deal 2 targets 3 projectile damage, and if he does so, he can draw 2 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. Deal the Frost Hound, and start dealing some damage to Voss. So I'm going to, and for the Nemesis, +1, Flash Flood, which is good. Aquatic Correspondence will allow him to draw 3 cards. And Shielding Winds, which will reduce heavy damage by 2, if it's 5 or more. Okay, so for Ra, I'm gonna go ahead and deploy the Blazing Tornado because there's no reason not to deal as much damage as possible to Voss now. And now with the Prime Punch, we'll actually hold on to this for now. I'm gonna go ahead and go for the greater good. Let's just see how much damage that knife can really do. So with this, she'll deal herself 3 psychic damage. If she does, this way, I can draw a card, play a card, and use a power. So I'm gonna go ahead and use Battlefield Experience, and I'm gonna use a power. This will deal 1 target 2 melee damage and 2 energy damage, then destroy it. And when this card is destroyed, I can draw 1 card and play 1 card. So Battlefield Experience, I'm going to go ahead and deal 6 damage to Voss, destroying it. And I'm going to go ahead and play the Focusing Conduit Blade. This will increase all of her energy damage by 1. Prime Punch, I'm going to deal an additional 5 damage by melee and energy. I'm going to go ahead and use a Nimble Strike, even though it's just going to deal Voss 1 damage to draw 1 card. And then I'm going to go ahead and make everybody draw 1 card. Lightning Speed's very useful. Fleet of Foot is as well. Defensive Displacement. This reduces all damage by 2. At the start of the environment turn, if there are no inmates in play, destroy the card. And he's going to shoot Knife for 2. Because she's a traitor. Gene Balance Psyweaver. This card's immune to psychic damage, and at the end, he deals everybody 2 psychic damage. He's gonna hit Ra for 1 energy, and Tempest for 1 fire. And everybody else takes nothing. Luckily, we have Flash Flood. This will destroy up to 2 environment cards. So, get rid of this because we don't need that in our way. And kill the Filter Officer because he's not our friend right now. And I'll go ahead and use Localized Hurricane again to get rid of the minion and Warlord's Boss. And draw 2 cards, a Ball Lightning, another Localized Hurricane, and draw an Electrical Storm. So here I'm going to go use a Flame Spike so I can deal 2 damage and I get to use 2 more powers this turn. So we get 2, we got 3, we did 5, and plus 4, just deal 9 damage total to Voss. So we're going to skip this for now. For the greater good, once again, draw a card, Battlefield Experience, use the power, deal 6 damage, correction 7 damage, draw a card. And I'm going to put the Prototype Gauntlet out. This will increase her melee damage by 1, And this gives it the power to deal one target 2 melee damage, and if the target's destroyed, I can kill an ongoing. So, Prime Punch, gonna deal 6 more damage to that. So you know why Knife is such a brutal fighter. And Flawless Execution is pretty useful. Fleet of Foot. What this does is it allows everybody to draw 1 card, and then she can play another card. She's not been dealt damage, so I'm gonna go and play the Quick Insight. Draw 3 cards, and then I will discard 2. Sucker Punch is not going to be helpful right now, so I'm just going to toss that out. And I'll get rid of the Sonic Vortex because I'm not expecting too many more multiple targets to be going out at once at this point of the game. Team Leader, everybody draws a card once again. Pushing the limits is also awesome. Filter Officer again. And I'm going to shoot Tempest because he has the ability to heal himself, even though Filter is enemies with Tempest. Quark Drive Translocator. First time a minion enters the field, each turn play the top card of the villain deck. And they all each take 2 damage. I'm gonna go ahead and use G-Bound Shackles just to increase the damage now. And I'll follow this up with a Vicious Cyclone next turn. So I'm gonna deal 3 damage to the Quark Drive Translocator, and I'm gonna deal 6 damage to Boss. I'll draw 2 cards off of that. And another one, Reclaim the Beat. Summon Staff. I'm going to go ahead and use Solar Flare to start increasing the damage that he deals. I'm going to deal 6 damage to Voss. To draw 1 card. And for here I'm going to take 5 psychic damage by doing this, but since we got plenty of life to work with, I'm going to go ahead and do so. So I'll take 5 from that because of the Staff of Ra. Now here... I'm not going to be able to finish off this turn, so there's no point of getting rid of this just yet. I'll go ahead and use the Wrecking Uppercut. This will deal the 1 target 5 melee damage and discard the top of the card of the villain deck. And whoa, we got rid of this forced deployment. If this ended up going on the field, and when it's destroyed, I take all the minions from the trash and put them in the play. And this is basically the kill card for us, because when all the minions come back, we usually have a big time being able to have to deal with all of them. So better to have that in the trash now than later. So we'll go ahead and do 6 more damage to Voss. And he's not going to last too much longer. So we're going to go pushing the limits. I can play an additional card during my play phase, draw an additional card during my draw phase. But at the start of the turn, Tachyon can deal herself 2 sonic damage. But she doesn't take this damage this way, this card's destroyed. So basically, it's one of those maintenance. So use it at your own as you will. But I have a tendency to usually want to keep this out. I've seen some others not want to keep this out just because there's just because of the not so many cards that they have in their hand. But I usually do it really a lot for the all the card draws. So this actually helps a lot. And we got 26 hit points to deal with, so that's not a problem. So I'll go ahead and Lightspeed Barrage. I'm actually going to hit him for 5. And everybody's going to draw a card. Staff, Incidental Contact, and Accelerated Assault. Hot Goggles. Prison Rogue. This will increase damage dealt by inmates by 1. At the start of the environment turn, destroy the agent with the highest HP. And didn't anybody tell anybody that there is no fighting in the block or assaulting any of the officers? Forced deployment. I thought I just got rid of that. In this particular case, we absolutely have to end the game here, because if we don't, we're going to deal with a massive number of problems. So that basically forces me to forego this vicious cyclone. So I'm going to go ahead and use Chain Lightning. Deal 7 damage to boss. Going to hit the Filter Officer and the Translocator. Localize Hurricane. Going to destroy the Translocator and hit boss for 6. Draw 2 cards off of that and do that. And what's better than to send Waterboard Voss out of his misery than using it in an Inferno? I know it's a usual waste, but because we just won, it's not a problem. So, goodbye, Voss. We won't miss you. So much for making riots in the prison. So there you have it. So we got Glenn Wardlove Voss. He's definitely not really much of a framing for difficulty. I prefer him being like 2.5. Just depends on how it is. He's definitely more difficult on advanced, but that's gonna be for another time. So anyway, I'm Crimson Thunder here. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and see you next time.